Armageddon's horizon, the last stand of humanity. The universe hummed with an eerie tension, a palpable anticipation that something monumental loomed on the horizon. On Earth, amidst the bustling cities and serene countrysides, whispers of impending doom swept through the populace like a chilling wind. In the hallowed halls of power, leaders convened emergency meetings, their faces etched with worry as they pored over intelligence reports detailing the escalating tensions with the Zunger species. Diplomatic efforts had faltered, and now the specter of war loomed large, casting a shadow over the fragile peace humanity had clung to for so long. At the heart of it all stood Admiral Jessica Carter, a seasoned veteran of countless skirmishes and conflicts. As she strode through the corridors of the United Earth Fleet's flagship, the weight of responsibility bore heavily upon her shoulders. She knew that the fate of humanity rested in her hands, and she would stop at nothing to ensure its survival. Gathering her senior officers in the war room, Admiral Carter wasted no time in laying out the grim reality facing them. The Zunger threat was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, their technology far surpassing anything Earth scientists had been able to develop. It was clear that a conventional conflict would be folly. They needed a plan, and fast. As the hours stretched into days, the tension aboard the flagship mounted to a fever pitch. Every available resource was marshaled, every contingency planned for as humanity braced itself for the storm that was to come. Meanwhile, across the cosmos, similar scenes played out aboard other starships and military installations as the full weight of the Zunger threat became apparent. Yet amidst the chaos and uncertainty, there were moments of quiet defiance, glimmers of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. Families huddled together, finding solace in each other's embrace. Soldiers shared stories and laughter, steeling themselves for the trials ahead. And throughout it all, the indomitable spirit of humanity burned brightly, a beacon of hope in the gathering storm. As the first rumblings of war echoed across the cosmos, Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of her flagship, her gaze fixed on the stars beyond. The die had been cast, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. But as long as there was breath in her body, she vowed to fight until the bitter end, to defy the odds and ensure that humanity would endure, no matter the cost. The echo of war reverberated through the cosmos, casting a shadow that stretched across the far reaches of human-controlled space. From the bustling metropolises of Earth to the distant outposts on the fringes of civilization, the specter of conflict hung heavy in the air, tainting every breath with uncertainty and fear. As the Zunger armada massed on the borders of human territory, tension reached a fever pitch. Reports flooded in from scouts and reconnaissance drones, painting a grim picture of the enemy's overwhelming numbers and formidable firepower. Yet amidst the grim reality of impending doom, humanity refused to yield to despair. On Earth, governments mobilized their resources, marshaling fleets and armies in preparation for the coming storm. Citizens flocked to recruitment centers, answering the call to defend their homes and loved ones from the encroaching threat. Streets once filled with the hustle and bustle of everyday life now teemed with the urgency of preparation, the steady beat of war drums echoing in the distance. Amidst the chaos, individuals from all walks of life grappled with their own hopes and fears, their destinies intertwined with the fate of their species. Families said tearful goodbyes as loved ones departed for the front lines, their faces etched with a mixture of pride and sorrow. Scientists toiled tirelessly in laboratories, seeking to unlock the secrets of Zunger technology and turn the tide of war in humanity's favor. On the flagship of the United Earth Fleet, Admiral Jessica Carter stood at the helm, her gaze fixed on the stars beyond. The weight of command bore heavily upon her shoulders, yet she refused to falter in the face of adversity. With steely resolve, she rallied her forces, inspiring hope in the hearts of those who looked to her for leadership. As the first shots of the war rang out across the void, a sense of grim determination settled over the cosmos. The clash of titans had begun, and there could be no turning back. Yet amidst the chaos and despair, the human spirit endured, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness that threatened to engulf them all. In the face of an existential threat, humanity found itself standing on the precipice of annihilation, desperately seeking allies in the cold expanse of space. Old rivalries and animosities were set aside as diplomats and envoys embarked on a mission of diplomacy, reaching out to civilizations both near and far in a desperate bid for survival. On Earth, the halls of power buzzed with activity as diplomats from the United Earth government worked tirelessly to secure alliances with former foes and estranged civilizations. Tense negotiations unfolded behind closed doors, each word weighed carefully as the fate of humanity hung in the balance. Amidst the turmoil, whispers of hope began to spread as reports trickled in of potential allies willing to stand shoulder to shoulder with humanity against the Zunger threat. From the war-torn remnants of once mighty empires to the enigmatic realms of the outer reaches, a ragtag coalition began to take shape, bound together by the common goal of survival. Yet forging alliances was no simple task, and trust was a precious commodity in the cold calculus of interstellar diplomacy. Betrayals and double crosses were a constant threat, and the specter of treachery loomed large over every negotiation. Yet amidst the uncertainty, bonds of friendship and camaraderie began to form, uniting disparate civilizations in a shared struggle against a common enemy. On the flagship of the United Earth Fleet, Admiral Jessica Carter watched with a mixture of hope and trepidation as the alliance took shape. Though the odds seemed insurmountable, she knew that humanity could not hope to stand alone against the might of the Zunger armada. It would take every ally they could muster, every resource at their disposal, to have any hope of emerging victorious. As the alliance prepared for the coming conflict, old wounds were healed and new friendships forged in the crucible of war. From the battle-hardened warriors of distant worlds to the brilliant minds of alien scientists, humanity found strength in unity, drawing courage from the knowledge that they were not alone in their darkest hour. And so, as the Zunger armada drew ever closer, humanity stood united, ready to face whatever horrors the cosmos could throw at them. For in the fires of adversity, the bonds of friendship and camaraderie had been forged, and together they would stand or fall as one against the gathering storm. The vast expanse of space became a battleground, the stars themselves obscured by the maelstrom of conflict as humanity clashed with the relentless onslaught of the Zunger armada. From the bridge of the United Earth Fleet flagship, Admiral Jessica Carter watched with a mix of determination and apprehension as the first salvos were exchanged. The Zunger vessels, sleek and formidable, descended upon human-controlled space like a swarm of angry hornets, their weapons blazing with deadly intent. Energy bolts streaked through the void, searing through the hulls of human ships with merciless precision. Explosions blossomed in the darkness, casting eerie shadows against the backdrop of the stars as the battle raged on. Admiral Carter's orders rang out over the din of combat, her voice calm and steady amidst the chaos. Ships maneuvered with practiced precision, executing evasive maneuvers and returning fire with all the fury humanity could muster. The roar of weapon systems filled the air, drowning out all other sound as the two forces clashed in a spectacular display of firepower. On the front lines, individual acts of heroism played out amidst the chaos. From the bridge of a doomed frigate to the gun decks of a besieged cruiser, brave men and women fought with unwavering resolve, their courage inspiring those around them to stand firm in the face of overwhelming odds. Against the backdrop of war, stories of valor and sacrifice unfolded, each one a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human race. As the battle wore on, casualties mounted on both sides, the toll of war etched in the faces of those who fought and died amidst the fury of combat. Yet amidst the carnage, glimmers of hope began to emerge as humanity's resilience shone through the darkness. Strategic victories were won, enemy vessels crippled and destroyed by the determined efforts of the United Earth Fleet. But for every victory, there were losses. Planets burned beneath the onslaught of Zunger firepower, their once thriving civilizations reduced to smoldering ruins. Entire fleets were lost in the blink of an eye, their crews sacrificed in the name of a greater cause. Yet still, humanity fought on, their resolve unbroken even in the face of overwhelming adversity. As the battle raged into the depths of space, Admiral Carter surveyed the chaos with a mixture of exhaustion and determination. Though the cost had been great, humanity had stood its ground against the Zunger onslaught, proving that even in the face of annihilation, the human spirit would endure. But as the smoke cleared and the echoes of battle faded into memory, Admiral Carter knew that the true test lay ahead. For the war against the Zungers was far from won, and the fate of humanity still hung in the balance. Yet as long as there was breath in her body, she vowed to fight on, to defy the odds and ensure that humanity would endure, no matter the cost. In the aftermath of the brutal battle, the cosmos seemed to hold its breath. The silence of space, a stark contrast to the cacophony of war that had reigned only moments before. Amidst the wreckage of shattered ships and smoldering debris, humanity took stock of the devastation wrought by the Zunger onslaught. On the bridge of the United Earth Fleet flagship, Admiral Jessica Carter surveyed the scene with a heavy heart. The toll of war was evident in the haunted eyes of her crew, their faces drawn with exhaustion and grief. Yet even amidst the wreckage, a steely resolve burned bright, a determination to press on in the face of overwhelming adversity. With the Zunger armada regrouping for another assault, there was little time to mourn the fallen. The war was far from over, and humanity stood on the brink of oblivion. With grim determination, Admiral Carter issued new orders, rallying her forces for the trials that lay ahead. As the fleet prepared to plunge once more into the abyss of war, individuals from all walks of life grappled with their own fears and doubts. Families mourned the loss of loved ones, their grief a bitter reminder of the cost of conflict. Soldiers steeled themselves for the battles to come, their resolve unbroken even in the face of overwhelming odds. In the depths of space, the Zunger armada massed for another assault, their numbers seemingly endless. Yet amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged as reports trickled in of potential weaknesses in the enemy's defenses. Scouts and reconnaissance teams were dispatched to gather intelligence, their daring missions offering a sliver of hope in humanity's darkest hour. Yet as the fleet ventured deeper into enemy territory, the true horror of the Zunger threat became apparent. Entire worlds lay in ruins, their once vibrant civilizations reduced to smoldering husks by the relentless advance of the alien invaders. As the fleet pressed on into the heart of darkness, the enormity of the task ahead weighed heavily on the hearts of all who dared to defy the abyss. But amidst the despair, there were moments of quiet defiance, glimmers of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. From the bridge of every starship to the darkest corners of every besieged colony, heroes emerged to defy the Zunger onslaught, their courage a beacon of light in humanity's darkest hour. As the fleet ventured deeper into enemy territory, the abyss of war threatened to consume them all. Yet amidst the chaos and despair, the human spirit endured, a testament to the resilience of a species determined to defy the odds and carve out a future amidst the stars. And as long as there was breath in their bodies, they would fight on, into the abyss and beyond, until victory was theirs or the last star burned out in the darkness. In the crucible of war, where despair and hope collided amidst the chaos of battle, a glimmer of light pierced the darkness as the tide began to turn in humanity's favor. From the bridge of the United Earth Fleet flagship, Admiral Jessica Carter watched with a mixture of disbelief and cautious optimism as the momentum shifted against the relentless onslaught of the Zunger armada. Strategic victories, hard won through sacrifice and determination, had dealt a blow to the enemy's advance, their once unstoppable momentum faltering under the relentless barrage of human resistance. With each battle won, the spirit of defiance burned ever brighter in the hearts of those who dared to stand against the encroaching darkness. On the front lines, individual acts of heroism played out amidst the chaos, each one a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human race. From the daring exploits of fighter pilots to the unwavering resolve of ground troops, brave men and women fought with all the courage and determination they could muster, their deeds inspiring hope in the hearts of those who looked to them for leadership. But it was not just on the battlefield where the tide began to turn. Behind the scenes, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of Zunger technology, their breakthroughs offering new hope in the struggle against the alien invaders. From the development of advanced weapons systems to the deployment of experimental tactics, humanity's ingenuity knew no bounds in the face of adversity. As the fleet pressed onward, probing deeper into enemy territory, new alliances were forged amidst the chaos of war. Former rivals and estranged civilizations joined forces with humanity, their combined strength bolstering the resolve of those who dared to stand against the Zunger onslaught. Though the road ahead was fraught with danger, the spirit of unity that had emerged in the crucible of war offered a glimmer of hope in humanity's darkest hour. Yet, amidst the signs of progress, there were reminders of the cost of conflict. For every victory won, there were lives lost, sacrifices made in the name of a greater cause. Families mourned the loss of loved ones, their grief a bitter reminder of the stakes at hand. But even amidst the despair, the human spirit endured, a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. As the fleet prepared for the battles yet to come, Admiral Carter stood at the helm, her gaze fixed on the stars beyond. Though the road ahead was fraught with danger, she knew that humanity would not falter in the face of adversity. For in the crucible of war, amidst the chaos and despair, the spirit of defiance burned ever brighter, a testament to the resilience of a species determined to carve out a future amidst the stars. In the midst of war's turmoil, where alliances were forged in the crucible of conflict, whispers of betrayal slithered through the shadows, threatening to unravel the fragile bonds that held humanity together. As the united Earth fleet pressed onward into enemy territory, the specter of treachery loomed large, casting a dark shadow over the battlefield. Amidst the chaos of battle, reports began to trickle in of covert communications between certain factions within humanity's own ranks and the Zunger invaders. Rumors spread like wildfire, sowing seeds of doubt and suspicion amongst those who had fought side by side against a common foe. Accusations flew like daggers in the night, tearing at the fabric of trust that had been painstakingly woven in the crucible of war. On the flagship of the United Earth Fleet, Admiral Jessica Carter grappled with the gravity of the situation. The possibility of betrayal within their own ranks threatened to undermine everything they had fought for, casting doubt upon the loyalty of those she had entrusted with her life. Yet amidst the chaos and uncertainty, she refused to yield to despair, determined to uncover the truth no matter the cost. As the fleet pressed onward, tensions simmered beneath the surface, threatening to erupt into open conflict at any moment. Lines were drawn, loyalties tested, as suspicions mounted amongst those who had once fought side by side against a common enemy. In the heat of battle, alliances shifted like sand in the desert, leaving only uncertainty in their wake. But amidst the chaos, there were moments of redemption, where the true measure of a person's character shone through the darkness. Individuals who had once been suspected of treachery risked everything to prove their loyalty to humanity's cause, their deeds a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. As the truth came to light, those who had once been accused of betrayal found themselves redeemed in the eyes of their comrades, their sacrifices recognized and honored amidst the chaos of war. From the depths of despair, hope emerged anew, as the bonds of trust that had been tested in the crucible of conflict were reaffirmed with a newfound strength. Yet, even amidst the signs of redemption, the scars of betrayal lingered, a bitter reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. As the fleet pressed onward into the heart of enemy territory, Admiral Carter knew that the road ahead would be fraught with peril. But as long as there were those willing to stand against the darkness, she knew that humanity would endure, no matter the cost. With the tide of war teetering on a precarious balance, and the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, Admiral Jessica Carter knew that desperate times called for desperate measures. As the United Earth Fleet prepared for their final assault on the heart of the Zunger Empire, she devised a daring plan, a gambit that would either secure humanity's victory or seal their fate once and for all. Gathering her most trusted advisors aboard the flagship, Admiral Carter outlined her audacious strategy. It was a plan fraught with risk, a high-stakes gamble that would test the limits of human ingenuity and resolve. Yet in the face of overwhelming odds, it was the only hope they had of emerging victorious against the relentless Zunger onslaught. The plan was simple, yet daring. a strike at the heart of the Zunger Empire, targeting their most heavily fortified stronghold and dealing a crippling blow to their command structure. It was a mission that would require precision, stealth, and unwavering determination as the fleet ventured deep into enemy territory, risking everything in a final bid for victory. As the fleet set course for the heart of the Zunger Empire, tension hung heavy in the air, the weight of their mission pressing down upon them like a suffocating blanket. Yet amidst the uncertainty, there was a sense of determination, a steely resolve that burned bright in the hearts of those who dared to defy the odds. As they ventured deeper into enemy territory, the fleet encountered fierce resistance at every turn. Zunger warships swarmed like angry hornets, their weapons blazing with deadly intent as they sought to repel the human invaders. Yet Admiral Carter and her forces pressed onward, their determination unyielding in the face of overwhelming adversity. With each passing moment, the tension mounted, the stakes growing higher with every step closer to their objective. Yet, amidst the chaos of battle, a sense of camaraderie emerged amongst the crew, their shared sacrifice, forging bonds that transcended the barriers of race, creed, and nationality. Finally, as they reached the heart of the Zunger Empire, Admiral Carter issued the order to commence the final assault. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, the fleet launched their attack with all the fury they could muster, their weapons blazing as they descended upon their target like avenging angels. In the chaos that ensued, the Zunger forces were caught off guard, their defenses overwhelmed by the ferocity of the human assault. The battle raged on, each side fighting tooth and nail for supremacy as the fate of the cosmos hung in the balance. But amidst the chaos and destruction, humanity's final gambit paid off. With a thunderous roar, the Zunger stronghold fell, its defenses shattered and its command structure crippled beyond repair. In a blaze of glory, humanity emerged victorious, their courage and sacrifice ensuring that the light of freedom would continue to shine bright in the darkness of the cosmos. The cosmic battleground shimmered with the eerie glow of starlight, the void punctuated by the flickering brilliance of weapons fire as humanity braced itself for the final decisive confrontation against the relentless Zunger armada. On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Jessica Carter stood resolute, her gaze fixed on the unfolding chaos before her, the weight of command pressing down upon her like a crushing weight. The United Earth fleet, battered and scarred from countless engagements, stood defiant in the face of overwhelming odds. As the Zunger armada descended upon them like a tidal wave of death and destruction, the fleet braced itself for the onslaught, their weapons primed and their resolve unyielding in the face of adversity. The clash of titans echoed through the void as the two forces collided in a cataclysmic struggle for supremacy. Energy bolts streaked through the darkness, illuminating the battlefield with flickering bursts of light as ships engaged in a deadly dance of death and destruction. Explosions blossomed like dark flowers amidst the chaos, casting eerie shadows against the backdrop of the stars. From the bridge of her flagship, Admiral Carter issued orders with calm precision, her voice cutting through the din of battle like a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. Ships maneuvered with practiced efficiency, executing evasive maneuvers and returning fire with all the fury they could muster. The roar of weapon systems filled the air, drowning out all other sound as the two forces clashed in a desperate struggle for survival. As the battle raged on, individual acts of heroism played out amidst the chaos. Fighter pilots engaged in daring strafing runs against enemy capital ships, their nimble craft weaving through a hail of enemy fire as they targeted vulnerable points in the Zunger defenses. Ground troops fought tooth and nail to hold their positions against overwhelming odds, their determination unyielding even in the face of certain death. Yet for every victory won, there were losses. Planets burned beneath the onslaught of Zunger firepower, their once thriving civilizations reduced to smoldering ruins. Entire fleets were lost in the blink of an eye, their crews sacrificed in the name of a greater cause. Yet still, humanity fought on, their courage and determination unbroken even in the face of overwhelming adversity. As the battle reached its climax, Admiral Carter knew that the time had come for one final desperate gambit. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, she issued the order to execute the plan, a daring maneuver that would either secure victory or seal their fate once and for all. With the fate of the cosmos hanging in the balance, humanity prepared to make its last stand against the forces of darkness. As the battle raged on, the echoes of war reverberated through the void, a testament to the courage and sacrifice of those who dared to defy the odds and stand against the encroaching darkness. And amidst the chaos and destruction, the human spirit endured, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness that threatened to engulf them all. As the smoke of battle cleared and the echoes of war faded into memory, a fragile calm settled over the cosmos, signaling the beginning of a new chapter in the annals of history. Humanity, battered and scarred from their long and arduous struggle against the Zunger invaders, emerged victorious from the crucible of conflict, their indomitable spirit unbroken despite the heavy toll of war. On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Jessica Carter surveyed the aftermath of the final battle with a mixture of exhaustion and relief. The once deadly battlefield now lay silent, the wreckage of shattered ships and smoldering debris, a grim reminder of the sacrifices made in the name of freedom. Yet amidst the devastation, there was a sense of hope, a glimmer of light amidst the darkness that had threatened to engulf them all. With the Zunger Empire defeated and their forces scattered to the winds, humanity stood on the brink of a new era of peace and prosperity. Across the cosmos, the survivors emerged from the shadows of war, their faces etched with determination as they began the long and difficult task of rebuilding what had been lost. Yet even amidst the chaos of reconstruction, there were moments of joy and celebration as the survivors rejoiced in their newfound freedom. Families reunited amidst the rubble of ruined cities, their tears of sorrow transformed into tears of joy as they embraced loved ones long thought lost. Heroes were honored and remembered, their sacrifices forever etched in the annals of history as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, humanity set about the task of rebuilding their shattered civilization, drawing upon the lessons learned in the crucible of war to forge a brighter future for generations to come. From the ashes of destruction rose a new era of cooperation and unity, as former enemies set aside their differences in the name of a greater cause. With each passing day, the scars of war began to heal, their wounds slowly fading into memory as humanity looked towards the stars with renewed hope and optimism. The cosmos, once a battleground of death and destruction, now beckoned with the promise of exploration and discovery, a vast and wondrous tapestry waiting to be unveiled. And as the first light of dawn broke across the horizon, casting its golden rays upon the cosmos, humanity stood united, ready to embark on a new chapter in their journey through the stars. For though the road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, they knew that as long as they stood together, there was nothing they could not overcome. As the flagship set course for the stars, Admiral Jessica Carter looked out upon the vast expanse of space with a sense of wonder and awe. Though the scars of war would never fully heal, she knew that humanity had emerged from the darkness stronger and more resilient than ever before. And as they ventured forth into the unknown, she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them with courage and determination, secure in the knowledge that the dawn of a new era had finally arrived.